Have it. The last ordinance.
An ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville authorizing the municipality to enter into an agreement to sell 10.42 acres of municipal property known as the Bel Air Swimming Pool to the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission for the purpose of widening the Pennsylvania Turnpike in Monroeville. And this ordinance would be presented with the amendments that were earlier voted upon and passed in the beginning of the meeting. So they would be included in the ordinance that I just described to you.
Correct.
Yes.
Understood.
Okay.
So that is the ordinance. Is there a motion to act on this ordinance?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any comments, discussion, council?
I have a question or comment.
Mr. Duncan.
I deeply believe that the committee is definitely devoted in finding a result to this. You know, I mean, they're in between a rock and a hard spot. I don't know that maybe we could table this for another month and give you guys, the committee, another month to, you know, to just work with the residents and see what we can do here. I mean, I don't know if I'd get a second on that or not, but I don't see where another month would hurt, because obviously eminent domain isn't part of this subject right now, right? Am I correct?
As of right now, correct.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, what is our deadline?
Well, the only deadline to consider, at the end of the year, the Turnpike will have a statutory responsibility to get a new appraisal. The appraisal that the municipality got was substantially less than what the Turnpike offered. So I think there's some concern that.
I mean, what we got on our own.
Correct.
Yep.
So substantially less. I think there's some concern on the part of council, and I don't want to speak for them, that, you know, if we wait and let it get into next year, they get a new appraisal, now the price goes down precipitously, perhaps.
No, I agree, but
Yeah.
I was just concerned for the committee. Maybe
Yeah.
they'd need another month or whatever to better get it out and explain, I mean.
Sure, Steve, and I appreciate your concern, you know, and the work for it. It's ongoing. Two things that I didn't really say about things in terms of deadlines and the people that are cooperating, and to comments for about including more individuals. That all has to come into the next phase of this point of it. As I mentioned in the report, the first challenge was we weren't even positive that we had means to begin to explore. So until we talked to for example, the community pools as one group, and then in consultation with Parks and Recreation, we got a complete description of what they had, what was in place, what they need, and then we had that as a second portion of that. So that's the first couple of steps of it. Now we have to nail down the devil's always in the details. There's no question about that. As we set this next meeting for the 29th, in that conversation, those individuals and representatives, seem pretty confident and willing to move forward and work with us. So I think I'm confident that it'll move forward. And every time you put a deadline to something and some other act intervenes with us moving forward, you know, there's always a problem of falling behind. I don't want to disappoint anybody. At this point, I'm pretty confident that we can move forward in an aggressive manner to work out the details of these folks, because there are some timelines. The very first moment, and I had the opportunity to review all of the minutes of the meetings, and I looked at a number of our recordings as well. And one of the points is, you know, we have to be ready for the next swim season in place. There's a self-imposed deadline for the people that we're working with. They've indicated to us, it's like, okay, we want to come to an agreement what we can and cannot do. And those of you that have been engaged in those neighborhood pools know, you know, it starts soon. Granted, they open from Memorial Day to September, and one of the comments that the committee, one of the members there came to us, and one of the pool representatives said is, you know, from May until September, we're competitors because they have swim teams. It's so very important. He said, but afterwards, we've got to start working together and get prepared for our seasons too. So there is an imposed deadline from those folks as well. They're motivated to continue to move forward, and I think that's beneficial too. They want to do it quickly, and so they can make arrangements for the programs that we asked them if they were capable to expand to. So they've got a strong motivation for them, but until have that nailed down, I don't want to speak further for them, but that's what they've told us up to this point too. So I'm confident that they're we'll be able to move forward.
I have to take your word for it. I just didn't know if an extension
Understand. I
would
appreciate- no, I
actually
appreciate- I
help you
appreciate that,
guys
yeah.
or-
It's
or
complicated.
not. And I don't want to jeopardize the funding as far as
Sure.
anything like that goes.
Precisely.
So,
Precisely.
But we are putting the money in escrow for the Parks and Rec and hopefully to replace
Mm-hmm.
the pole.
Any other comments, council? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve. Voting in the affirmative approves the ordinance, including the amendments that were discussed earlier. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Arcinico? Mr. Duncan?
It's a tough one. Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
The ayes have it.